Hi everyone, before we go into the podcast, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I'm super grateful for your continued loyalty and support. If you could do me a quick favour, if you could give me a review on Apple Podcasts, it really helps the algorithm and it will help this podcast go up the lists. If there are any subjects or topics that you want me to cover, then please do reach out to me on DM on LinkedIn and I will do my best to find the best guest for that subject or topic. This is the Absolute Business Mindset podcast, created and hosted by Mark Hayward. This podcast will interview entrepreneurs, business owners and careerists. We will delve into their journey to success, key life milestones and go deep into their area of expertise. Get ready to learn from other successes and failures. Today we have Maxwell Nee, who is the CEO of High Performance Coach, which is where coaches build businesses without websites or business cards. Hello, Maxwell. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you for having me, Mark.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me today. So you're in Barcelona. We just had a quick chat before we started. So you're based in Barcelona at the moment, but you're originally from Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So you grew up in Australia, and when I was doing my research and reading about you, you were saying that travel is a very important part of your lifestyle. So you've been to Australia, Canada, and now you're based in Europe. Why was travel so important to you?
Yeah, so when I was probably about 9 or 10, I was really lucky that my parents are from Malaysia, but I was born in Australia. My parents took me on like a 2, 3 week trip to back home to see like family and stuff, and I had never traveled before that point, and I just remember, like the whole like my whole world had sort of opened up, like literally, because my whole world at that point in time was just playing with my Game Boy and my PlayStation and going to school in Australia. And then all of a sudden we went back home to Asia, and my parents come from like a really, really small town that's really, really yeah, not metropolitan and not modern and not not like what you get in Australia. And it just sort of made me really open to the fact that there's all these different experiences, and that feeling of, that exciting, almost Christmas morning feeling you feel at an airport. I love that.
Fantastic. Okay, so you did a business degree at Queensland University of Technology. So why did you choose a business degree?
Yeah, so the truth is, I started watching a bunch of TV shows that led me towards fantasizing about being an investment banker. So the investment banker was like the goalpost that I had my eyes on whilst I was
Yeah.
going through university, and it was like New York City, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, investment banking, and the business degree was the first step in that direction. So
Right.
that was why. Whether or not I enjoy business by the end of it or whatever, but that was the original goalpost going in there.
And what did you learn? What did it give you from your expectations, as well as what it actually gave to you as a grounding in business?
Yeah, so in terms of the business, helping me build the business that I have now, it gave me absolutely nothing. But in terms of what it gave me as a human to, it's a bit weird someone talking about their own character, but it really, really helped me to build my character, because it took me 6 years to do a 3-year degree, and I almost dropped out multiple times. I was on probation once, and they said if you fail one more subject, then you're out. And then, I spoke to my brother one night, and he said, what? And he opened my thinking of like one idea. He said, what you get from business, your business degree or any degree, is more than just what you learn. It's actually the what you learn in how to finish it. How to actually start that thing, finish it, go to all the classes, and finish that commitment. And so that's probably the biggest thing that I got out of it. It was that sense of accomplishment. It could have been any degree, but it was that sense of accomplishment of finishing something that I absolutely hated and didn't want to finish.
And also, you get a lot of life experiences as well from university. You meet well, I can speak from I don't know Queensland University, but from my experience at university, meeting people from all over the country, all over the world was really fascinating. For me and probably others, drinking and sort of socializing was a massive part of university. Were they things that you found, or were you very strict on what you wanted to achieve and how you use the degree as an experience?
Yeah, so I let me think. Yeah, another big thing that I got from my degree was definitely like those contacts and friends and connections that you were in the trenches with, studying till 3 in the morning. Like nothing can really replace or replicate that sort of bond that you create with the people that you go through university with. So that's definitely like another qualitative thing, like fourth dimensional thing that I appreciate about my degree. It's funny that I'm saying this out loud. I appreciate everything except for what I learned in the degree itself.
Fantastic. All right. So you left university with a business degree, and from what I understand, you got a job in banking, which you said that was your ultimate aim. But you had a lot of rejections. There was quite a lot of applications and quite a lot of. How was that coming out of university with a degree and having so many rejections? How was that to deal with?
Yeah, so what happened was there was this job that I wanted that I knew I could do really well in. I had the hunger and passion to get it done. And in that job, you needed to have like the first thing that they look for is, really a great degree with great grades. I didn't have the grades because I just didn't have my head screwed on straight for the majority of my degree. So then I thought, okay, how else can I get into this job? Because I know I could do well and I like it, I've got the passion for it and all that sort of thing. So I actually ended up applying like 37 times at the same job.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and by the end of it, I said, okay, well, how can I like connect those qualitative sort of fourth dimensional things to give me a better shot? Because a part of me really believed like, yeah, it's a job and there's restrictions and qualifications and all that sort of thing and filtering, but at the end of the day, it's still people. So then, by the end of that year, I had taken out like the whole floor of that whole division of the bank out to coffee. I'd spent like $600 on coffee, being like a poor uni student, just putting on my $199 suit with my $4 tie and just taking people out to coffee and put a connection and say, hey, and just trying to learn from them, asking them questions, pull out of them what basically I could then include as another way to articulate what I have to offer on my cover letter and CV. So it was like a year-long process, and then I eventually cracked it. And it was just like this big, hallelujah moment of like, holy shit, if you really stick at something and persevere and you're willing to believe that it can happen, that you could just like slip through the cracks into something you're not qualified for.
So you found yourself at a bank in Australia, and you've kind of explained why you went into banking. Was it a financial as well as a sort of passion for investment banking that you went into banking?
Not really. Like the finances are nice. The finances of banking, definitely makes sense. But what drew me to banking is, yeah, I like the I like the numbers, but not the numbers as in I like maths. Like I like the numbers that, certain percentages of things, of a big number can impact, how young you retire and things like that. Like how little like swings and hinges of investments and things that you could do today can really really change the course of your life in 5-10 years time. So I like that. That's really what excites me. So that's sort of what drew me to banking and sort of kept me in there. And yeah, the finances definitely make sense, as well. If you're hungry, you've got a lot to give. They definitely reward you for that. Within the right, also the right economic environment as well.
Okay. So you've said a couple of times on the information that you provided and reading about that you ended up being unhappy working in the bank. So what was that shift? What was that mindset shift that made you start to either lose interest or not enjoy the experience anymore?
Yeah, so I remember the exact moment that it really, really hit me. So the exact moment where it hit me was I walked into work one day, at my standing desk with this like really slick office and corporate and briefcase and suit and tie and all that sort of thing. I looked at my boss and his boss and his boss and his boss and his boss, and then I realized that I didn't want any of their jobs. And then I realized, holy shit, what am I even doing here? And then it hit me like there had always been this rock in my shoe of I actually always have wanted to build my own business because I would look at the clients that we bank and think to myself, I could do it better than them. Like just that, that sort of, yeah, I could see the mistakes they're making and I could do it without those mistakes and learn from them and things like that, right? So then it hit me. I'd spent 5 years working on Plan B, and it hit me that I'd spent 5 years working on this career that had been very successful, coming from a place of fear. When I always had like that rock in my shoe of I want to be my own boss, I want to create impact, and most of all, I want a role, position, job, business, whatever you call it, where there's no limits to my effort. What really really chokes and demotivates me is if you put a ceiling on how much I can grow. And in that year, it happened to be the perfect storm. In that year, the bank had went through like a massive regulation and a tightening. So everyone's like bonuses and everything was all choked and they all had ceilings. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were Usain Bolt, you couldn't win the gold medal. And you can't you just can't do that to me. Nothing kills my spirit and motivation more than saying I can't win the gold medal if I'm willing to go for it, right? So those things created the perfect storm that sort of really really made it an unbearable place to stay in banking.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi, I'm Alex, the host of X Health Show. Meet the future of healthcare. Think X-Men, that's X Health. Actual superheroes behind programming living cells to cure cancer once and for all. Tech that detects preterm delivery in seconds, brain-computer interface, or apps that employ AI to match you, your disease, with the best treatment. X Health Show brings to you visionaries who push the boundaries of healthcare from Switzerland, the heart of Europe and the most innovative country in the world. Let me introduce you to their startups. Head to X Health Show, meet the future of healthcare. Happy to greet you there.
So you said your spirit. Have you found working for yourself in entrepreneurship that your spirit and sort of zest for life has increased?
Yeah, absolutely. My zest for life wasn't squashed when I was in banking, but my zest for life definitely didn't have an outlet to fire off, and I would fire it off in different ways in banking by going to work in a green suit, I'd go to work in a red suit and everyone's wearing black and blue. But yeah, like I really believe, your everyone's business if they love it. It's like an expression of how they express themselves, a bit like an artist. But your business is just like a big amalgamation of systems and people that is your expression, just like how an artist would express themselves in painting.
Did you have a fear of failure?
Yeah. I definitely had a fear of failure, and I still have a fear of failure. Like I really believe that the fear of failure doesn't go anywhere. You just learn to deal with it better. You learn to deal with it with more rationale and less emotion and with more evidence and due diligence.
Awesome. So then you left your job, your corporate job, and you moved to Canada. Um, why Canada? What was the inspiration behind that? Why not the US? Why not UK? What made you go to Canada?
Yeah, so when I realized that I'd been working on Plan B for about 5 years, I wanted to go to a place that I'd never been before, because I knew that if I do something truly, truly uncomfortable, then I would grow as much as I possibly could. So I chased an uncomfortable situation, and Canada was one for me because I'd never been there, never seen snow, never lived in the cold, because I'm from Australia, and didn't have a job, no place to stay, no friends, no safety net, nothing. So I literally went there with a credit card and said, I'm going to figure some shit out.
So what was day one like? You land in Toronto. Where'd you go? What did you do? What was your first step?
Yeah, so my first step was to first of all go to my Airbnb, and then the first step there was to work out what I wanted to do in terms of like job or whatever. So I started to look at I had this image in my mind of okay, so I worked in a big corporate bank and that wasn't fun. So maybe like the whole startup thing would be fun. You know, maybe if I work in a place where there's like free food and bean bags and free tea and coffee and people walking around barefoot and fake grass and then I went to one of those places and managed to talk my way into a job and I realized that I still wasn't happy. So then I was really confronted with okay, it's either I'm going to settle in life being not happy, or I'm going to have to just break through this fear of failure and start my own business.
So I just want to drill down to because I think it's totally fascinating. So you went to Toronto, you got in your Airbnb, you've got a phone, some clothes, not knowing anyone there. Did you think to yourself, right, I need to look online, find a job, or did you know that you were interested in a hobby and you met people in that way? Like you're sitting there, I just want to visualize this. You're sitting there in your Airbnb with your phone and your clothes. Who do you phone? What do you go online? Do you, what was that after looking around the area and things like that? But what was that next step like? Do you just start applying for jobs on your on online?
Yeah, so I started applying for jobs and none of them were landing, like none of the ones that I wanted. And then I moved towards okay, maybe I just have to really, really like create one or like, you know, create something that then becomes one. So then I found a few co-working spaces that were full of startups, and I started going basically like hunting through the co-working spaces. And I talked my way through the security door of one of them, and I went up to this founder who I Googled earlier, and I sort of liked what he was doing. He's a bit like he has like a Canadian version of TransferWise, where he helps people to make transfers in different currencies, you know, for a great rate. And then started talking to him. I said, hey, you know, saw what you're doing. Just, you know, are you Jonathan? And he was like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about your business. I think it's really cool what you're doing. I think I could add a lot of value. Like, do you have a position open or are you looking for anything? And he was like, how did you get in here? and, and then I said, oh, well, I kind of told them that I had an appointment with you. So they let me in. So then I got in and he was like, dude, I love that. How did that even, that's cool. Okay, cool. Let's start working. And then we started working. And
that takes two things: a lot of resource and then big balls to walk up to someone and just start talking to.
yeah, it was funny. It didn't really click to me what I'd done because I was just taking it one step at a time. And you know, just to underline something in terms of mindset, like that's what happens when there's no safety net. You know, not just that you're forced to a point where you gotta take action, but because my whole perspective of what's normal, what's not, was turned upside down when I was put into a place where I had no friends. You know, it's either I stay to myself in solitary confinement, or I take actions that I would have taken before. And I knew that I would sort of have that sort of extra motivator by moving to a place where I didn't know anyone. Like I would go into every bar and drink with everyone and talk to like every waiter and every waitress, like just say, hey, you know, I'm new here, you know, tell me, and just really, really be like a someone that just almost has all the time in the world, because I had all the time in the world because I didn't have any friends, didn't have a job or anything. So You know, when you have when you walk into a place, like you've got all the time in the world, like you just, yeah, like stuff can happen because you're more open to putting yourself out there.
And who did you start hanging out with? Was it people through the startup that you started building friends with, or because someone a friend of mine did something similar, um, but they had a hobby that they enjoyed doing, and um, they were into dancing, into like salsa and all that sort of stuff, and they moved to a different city, not really knowing anyone, and they then built a community through the dance, and then someone knew someone, and then the network grew. But how did you source friends, colleagues, people to spend time, just people to hang out with?
Yeah, so when I started building my business, one of my first friends was my roommate. So I moved into some place and had a roommate for the first time. So he was really cool, and we're still friends. And then when I started building my business, I joined Soho House in Toronto, which is like a social club slash co-working space. And I made some friends there. And I also happened to bump into someone who I didn't know was living in Canada at the time, because they saw me post on Facebook, and like they became a really good friend as well, like a really, really old friend that I didn't really talk to that much. So I reconnected with them and then went to Soho House, and also started becoming friends with some of my clients, because some of my clients were local when I first started building, when I left the startup and started building my own business. So
So let's
it was here and there. It was here and there.
so let's just talk about your you setting up your business, high performing coach. So why don't you first of all tell me a little bit about what it is, and then I've got some other questions.
Yeah, cool. So High Performing Coach is a training and development company where we help life, mindset, spiritual health, executive leadership coaches build their business from the ground up, you know, straight out of their accreditation. So we give them all the tools and the strategies and everything that they need basically to be a successful coach online, so that they can have the life that they want.
Um, and I don't even need to really ask you this question, but you bootstrapped your business? I take it you took it from just you as an employee, or did you have co-founders?
Yeah, so we've got three co-founders that I co-founded the business with, plus another one that joined later because she was a rock star client. And in terms of like bootstrapping and everything like that, you know, we're very lucky in that I've always um, like been like, this is my like 13th iteration of this niche. I've always been in the services providing industry, so there's no, you know, there's no apps to develop, there's no startup capital really needed. It's all a bit about offering a service and transacting that value for that price. And but what I would say is the one thing that's really helped me in any of my 13 iterations is the principle of, you know, your product doesn't exist when you build it or design it or put it in a brochure. It exists when you sell it. You know, it exists when it's being used by someone, when someone's actually willing to pay money for it. That's the only time it really exists. Otherwise, it's just a thing that's just sitting on the shelf and it's not being used by anyone. You know, your product really only really exists when it's being used by someone, not when it's looking really nice on your website or on a landing page or on a brochure, right? So that has, you know, obviously brought cash flow forward in all the iterations of everything that I've always done. And I really believe that, you know, that's the ultimate litmus test. It's to have something as rough and ready and minimum viable offer as possible, so that you can see if anyone's actually open and willing to invest in it, and then use that to build like the business.
So you from the business side, you start with a sort of lean methodology. You do a minimal viable product, sell that, because this is what I do. I'm also a business coach, and I help startups or
Cool.
people who want to be a startup and they have a side hustle and then they make it full time. And one of the things that I say to them is like, don't worry about funding initially, just get a business up and running in a niche, sell it, learn from those experiences, and then be able to expand from there as well. But I'm interested, so you said, so you do the business and executive coaching, but equally you do spiritual coaching as well. Was that another iteration that you added further down the line?
No, as in we also help we help all types of coaches, including spiritual coaches,
Okay.
for the business. Yeah.
Okay. What would you say is your USP?
Yes, our USP is that so the way we help our clients is we give them all the strategies and we coach them. We coach them through their fears, their doubts, their any gaps in confidence. And our USP is that we do that like live. Basically, we do that live. We do that with everyone. We give everyone an experience of what it's like to work with us instead of just information of what it's like to work with us. And we do that through our live events or maybe some of our discovery calls or things like that. And on those calls, whenever we do that, we hold nothing back. So, if I put the secret down to a single sentence, it's that we basically give away as much as possible, knowing that there will be that top echelon of the market that's, ready to take action and sees the value of what we have to offer, and they'll just jump on it, and I recognize that that's not applicable or feasible for every type of business, but I really believe in like a service-based industry. If you give out your methodology for free, that people will pay you for implementation or confidence in how they execute it.
Okay, fantastic. Do you still coach? Is that part of your role as a coach as well? So I see you're head of growth, but do you still coach people as well?
Yeah. So we coach all of our clients. The goal is to step back and away from that and have other people do that. But I do, yeah.
So do you actually have a coach yourself?
Yeah. I really believe that a coach that doesn't have a coach, if there's a problem they want to solve in their life and they don't have a coach for it, it's a bit like a personal trainer selling health and fitness and they're out of shape. It's like it's something that just doesn't really click. Like if you really believed in it, then you would have it, or if it was that important to you, you would be aligned with it. So right now I've got 2 coaches. I almost always have 2. Sometimes I have 3.
And what do they help you with specifically?
Yeah, so one helps me with a bit of everything. So like a bit of like the business and insights and like a deeper level of personal development, like personal growth. And then the other one helps me with like the business strategy and everything that we have that goes into our execution in our business.
Okay. Just on a sort of side note from your business, so you are now in Barcelona, so travel is obviously still important to you, even through the pandemic. It sounds. Did you get that experience when you moved to Barcelona? That excitement of moving to a new country, even though you sort of were in a totally different situation where you had your business already set up.
Yeah, like the assignment was definitely there to settle in because I've never settled in mainland Europe before. Like I've been in the UK and things like that. And it's I can't tell you how lucky this part of the world is to have like 50 countries in the Schengen where they can all travel freely between each other compared to being in Australia on an island in like the far corner of the world that's 8 hours away from anything. Mm-hmm. So it's that part and everything that comes with that, the mix of cultures is definitely exciting for me. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I was just wondering, so you said that your business is now, as you've got some mainland Europe clients as well, but could you do your job in any country you chose, as we've now got Zoom and things like that? You don't necessarily need face to face, or have you found that transition to Zoom and various other teams and things a difficult one for your business?
Yeah, so we're very fortunate in that we've always done things online through Zoom. Like our clients have always been, in different parts of the world. Like we've never really had a face-to-face client. So the whole pandemic and everything was a great nudge that we should just double down in the online space. Double down in the Zoom events, the live interaction, and everything that we're already doing.
And what are the different roles that your co-founders work in, and sort of how does the dynamic of co-founders feel with your work?
Yeah, so I'm like the sales and marketing guy, so to speak. One of my co-founders is the mechanic, so he's like the technician that builds systems and the tech and does all of like the automation and the support. We've got two other co-founders that are like front-facing aspirational characters for our clients, in terms of they are like great coaches that we have. And yeah, I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what we have so far. And we do dip in as well to each other's parts to play whenever we need to.
And you said it's taken you 13 iterations to get to where you are now. Just talk me through that process of iterating, and maybe some of the milestones that you went through those 13 iterations.
Yeah, so the first thing that when I started my own online business, it was a digital marketing business, right? Digital marketing, so running like Facebook ads and email campaigns for coaches, for life coaches. And then it evolved into, I said, okay, well, I really want to do marketing for gyms, because I love fitness and things like that. And that got really boring really quickly. And then I started doing event marketing for like a property investment and development firm, which was part owned by my brother. And then sort of went back to coaches, and then went to digital nomads and content creators and influencers, and yeah, just all sort of bouncing around the online space for who I could market for. And then it actually evolved. It didn't jump. It evolved into this because I realized that I enjoyed helping coaches, and a big part of what you need to help anyone with, whether they're a coach or not, is not just the actions and the strategy, but also the support of, the mindset shifts that they need support through, or they need help breaking through.
So why did you actually choose coaches as a subject, as a niche?
Yeah, I my initial thinking at the time, I didn't put much thought into it. I just sort of picked one. And my initial thinking at the time was that I imagine that the part of the brain that coaches use for coaching is the opposite part of the brain that people but people would want to have being used as a marketer. Like it's sort of, the other side of the spectrum. And I recognized that, and I thought, okay, well, I like marketing, and I think coaches, people that dedicate their lives to helping other people with like confidence and anxiety and things like that is pretty cool thing to go for. So that was the initial thinking, and then I evolved into really, really enjoying working with this particular audience.
What's your favorite part of your role that you do at the moment?
Yeah, so there's a few things. It's probably equally tied with when you're helping a potential client, sort of really, really like pop what they're dealing with, and just sort of get them to see that, they're being stopped by fear or whatever. So that's really great and really fulfilling. And the other part is actually playing with like the really big pieces, which is, now that we've built this business, how can we build a complementary division of the business in this direction or this direction? Or how could we maybe work a bit closer and partner with a supplier to then add more value to our clients, and also, build something that builds on top of what we have now, instead of starting another business all over again.
Um, so you appreciate the sort of macro as well as the micro level of
Yeah.
your role.
Yeah.
So I'm a coach. I'm a business coach. I help startups and small businesses reach their dreams. If you were to work with me, how would you? What sort of initial questions would you ask? What sort of insights would you need to be able to get the most out of your services that you provide?
Yeah. So the first thing I would do is I would, get the person present to, or reset their vision, you know, and by vision, I very simply mean, what do they want? Why do they need help? Why are they speaking to me? So I might ask questions like, okay, so where are you at right now in your business, and where do you want to be? And then once we get those clear, which is usually in terms of like numbers, like yeah, I'm earning $5,000 to $8,000 a month now, and I want to earn 15 to 20,000. I said, okay. And then if you did that, what would that mean for you? What's behind the money? Like, what's the goal behind the goal? Because the goal behind the goal is always the thing that really, really pulls them out of bed, instead of the urge to earn money, where they've got to push themselves out of bed. And then, they might sort of get connected to something like, oh, well, I just love to earn an amount of money where I could take my grandparents for a holiday whenever I like. Or I'd like to build this business to the point where I am sharing a stage with Brene Brown or Oprah. I'll say, cool. That's what I want to hear. That's what excites me. It excites me to help you get to that. So I want that in that conversation. I want to know that as much as I want them to see that this will help them get to that Brene Brown or Oprah or whatever.
So it's the why. It's the sort of Simon Sinek. What's your why to?
Yeah, no,
would you?
not so much. No, so the why, the Simon Sinek why, is more about the personal thing, but it's more about why this direction. What's at the end of the horizon of this direction in your life. Is it to be the world's leading authority in this, or is it to be financially free, or is it whatever that is? I want to know that, because people don't look at that often enough, and for me to flush that out in a conversation with someone, gives really serves them, because it reconnects them to where their juice and energy is coming from, and it juices me, because it juices me that I'm helping someone fulfill on that thing that's so important to them.
How do you use social media part of your strategy with coaches? Is it a fundamental, or I know you said at the start that you don't use business cards or websites. So is social media a key player for you?
Yeah, so social media is a bit like, we help our clients use social media like a networking event on demand. It's something there, and everyone's there, and it's so easy to connect with people, because in the world of coaching, it's so personal. Like the things our clients are helping their clients with is they're asking them to look into the deepest, darkest, scariest corners of their life that they haven't shared with their mums, dads, fathers, or whomever. And the only way to really, really break through that with someone is to really, really connect with them, just by having a conversation, like sending a personalized message, really, really slowing things down to speaking like one person at a time, like building the relationships of your business, one person and one relationship at a time.
Fantastic. And so I was going to say, like, the coaching market is relatively saturated. I think I heard something like there's 100,000 business coaches on LinkedIn, for example. And obviously for you, that's great because there's plenty of coaches and therefore plenty of opportunities to get with clients. But how do you navigate your clients through the element of saturation within the business coaching world?
Yeah, so it's like, if there's 100,000, like, so what a coach does is a coach helps someone solve their problems, right? Helps someone solve their problems, helps them, become like a future version of themselves that they've been dreaming about or yearning to have or to be. And if there's 100,000 coaches in the world, how many humans are there in the world with problems? Like 7 billion. So we really tell our clients that your clients are everywhere. You should go speak to them. And if what you'll find is either there's something that they want that's you can't help them with, or you don't want to, or it's just not there for you to help them with, or B, you'll probably have some overlap in what you enjoy helping people with and what someone else wants if you just spend the time to talk to them.
Just going back to you're saying that you want to help people's attain their dreams. So what's your 5-year dream, 10-year dream?
Yeah, so my 5-10 year dream would be to build what we have now into like a real behemoth of training and development. So there's a few different divisions that I'm putting into place now, which will really expand our business. Like, for example, we're building an academy for coaches, so for people to learn coaching and then to then take that and then come with us if they want to build the business as well. There's also another fun part of the business that I want to play with, which is like personal development for children. So it's very, very early stages, but the concept is basically that children will be set up, like for someone's children to be set up so that by the time they're doing personal development as an adult, it's less painful and they're sort of more open and they're more moved along to really, really take that on. Or they might not need it as an adult because they've done so much as a kid and they're happy with what they've done so far. So there's all those sort of really fun different divisions that we want to build, and that is my focus for the next 5 to 10 years.
So you talked about personal development, and I wouldn't say all entrepreneurs, but I think there's an element of most people who work as a business owner have some sort of personal development. Who's your inspiration to what you do? Is it a thought leader? Is it a relative, a family member? Who's inspirational for you?
Yeah, so for me, it would be, I really resonate with what Elon Musk is doing, because I really believe, like, an entrepreneur, their role, the whole reason why entrepreneurs succeed is because they're solving problems for people, and Elon is solving some of the biggest problems on the planet. That's why he's the most successful entrepreneur on the planet. So that's the game that I'm really up for. It's solving bigger and bigger problems for the evolution of the human race, so that we keep evolving as a race, and what that will give everyone, and that's like the lasting impact that I think every entrepreneur has the ability to contribute to.
That's fascinating. So you see, they say that the more money you make, the more influence, but you just get bigger problems, don't you? You just climb up the ladder of bigger problems to solve.
Yeah. You climb up the ladder of bigger problems to solve, and whoever's willing to solve the biggest problem basically gets the most rewarded, just like Elon Musk, right? And if you solve a problem for 1 million people, you'll do really, really well. If you solve a problem for 1 billion people, you'll do even better.
But the thing with Elon Musk is that he has such diverse different businesses. So Tesla, SpaceX, the the Hyperdrome, the Boring Company. Do you have you're talking about different branches of your business? Do you see those other areas as sort of great opportunities, or do you harness I don't know, a sort of eco part of your business which is completely different to the rest of your business?
Yeah, so yes, it's correct that Elon's businesses are different, but they're also very, very similar. They're also very similar in that they are solving um, like almost like macro problems that impact and benefit a lot of humans. Like in many ways, solving solar for houses is no different to the Boring Company, where he helps people like beat traffic and get years of their life back. Like they're all like macro, you know, like the whole human race will appreciate the evolution of how these problems are solved for forever. So they're the same in that sense, and that's the common thread that I see between his businesses. The common thread between ours is the personal development thread. All the branches of all of our businesses and divisions will include threads of personal development and basically um, humans getting the most out of themselves.
And is that why you're thinking of helping kids to, because it's quite a marketing strategy. If you start getting involved with kids, they can stay clients for 50, 60, 70 years. Is that part of your marketing strategy?
I actually hadn't even thought of that, but yeah, there's a great lifetime value helping kids, right? But what clicked for me was when we help some of our clients, they sort of get like an insight sometimes where they say, oh, I I I had I was told this belief that money makes you evil when I was 5, and I'm realizing now how much that's how much I'm stuck in building my business, because I can't build my business to make money if I believe money makes me evil, right? As an example. And then it hit me. It said, okay, so, and then every parent that comes through our program, as an example, they often say the same thing, like, this has really shown me how to be more aware about how I treat or speak to my kids, and how like little things can sort of build up, and things I tell them that I might mean it one way, they might listen to it another way, and that could impact the rest of their lives and things like that. And then it hit me, okay, well, if they're already, aware of how much all of these things can sort of become heavier and heavier as people grow up, then why not help them to help their kids with the new awareness that they've got? So that's where it originally came from. But yeah, I agree. The lifetime value point is a great insight.
And so the last bit that we talk about on this podcast is about future endeavors. And you kind of talked about where you see your businesses or where you'd like your businesses to branch off with different divisions. But for you personally, what does the future hold for you?
Yeah, so I I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I knew that I didn't give everything that I've got. Not because I've got an attachment to like being recognized or anything like that, but because I know that I can. I think it's just such a waste of opportunity if I don't. I think it's a waste of opportunity if everyone doesn't give it everything that they've got. That's why, I'm in the business of personal development, helping people give more of what they've got. So, what that looks like for me is that I want to solve, um, the world's biggest problems. I want to solve, like Elon Musk, colonizing Mars type of problems, and whatever they show up as. I just want to solve. Yeah, I just want to basically go into the future knowing that I'm contributing in that way, the same way that Elon is. And right now we're contributing in the way of, the human disease almost of a lack of self-confidence, right? That's like the common thread of all of our clients and what all of our clients have all of their clients with.
Oh, that's very interesting. So there's a you think that is the key to unlocking for your coaches is to that personal development from their development as a coach and as a person, and sort of fear of failure or is a critical component of what you're offering to coaches and to people.
Yeah, because the only thing different between an Olympic gold medalist and an Olympic bronze medalist is everything that goes inside their head. The only thing different. And I believe that the only thing different between every human on the planet is what goes on inside their head. So when they can get their head straight and clear and focused, and with all the support that's required to get that to where they want it to be, then they can do whatever they want.
Fantastic.
They should they?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're coming to the end of the podcast. I ask the same 6 questions to all of my guests. They're quickfire questions. They don't need a quickfire answer. It's up to you. The first question is, what's the best decision that you made?
Okay, the best decision that I've made was to quit banking.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
It would be that, what I shared about university, that, what you get from university is not just what you learn, but it's the character that you build whilst you're there.
Who's helped you most in your career?
That'd be tough. It would be between my brother and my business partners.
So what does your brother do? Sorry, I'm jumping, but what does your brother do?
So my brother does mortgage broking and also property development and investment.
In Australia still?
In Australia, yeah.
Okay. And he's been a source of help, assistance, advice. Is he older than you?
Yeah, he's older than me. Okay. Yeah.
Big brothers do help, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
Do I have any regrets? No, because I've really learned to appreciate like the lessons that you learn from things. But that's a bit of a cop out. So let me see if I can give you an answer. Some of the regrets would be, in my personal life, it would be like holding on to like that relationship when I knew it wasn't right, holding on to anything that I knew that wasn't right, and that I knew that would sort of end anyway. And it's like you're just going through the motions whilst you tolerate this thing that isn't working for you. Mm-hmm. So anytime I do that's something I could do without.
Good answer. What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of being able to have the freedom to the point where I'm paying for my mom's mortgage right now. So paying for a mortgage in Australia, I'm able to do that. And someone else asked me for some help as well recently. Can't remember what it was about, but I was able to help them, and just not that I'm doing it, but to be able to say yes to like random, monetary things like that.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And what does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means to me, basically whatever happens, whatever's happening right now. So, I believe that whether or not we are actively creating it, we're leaving a legacy right now. So, and whatever legacy we're leaving right now, we are borrowing it from our grandkids. We're borrowing the earth, we're borrowing time, we're borrowing water and pollution in the environment, and pollution in the sky and plastic in the waters and everything. We're borrowing from our grandkids, and there's an impact of the things that you do or don't do.
And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
So I'm most active on LinkedIn. So if you search me on LinkedIn, I'm the only Maxwell Nee on there. and also on our website, highperforming.coach.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Maxwell. Thank you very ever so much for your time today. It's been really interesting. Thanks. Cheers.